I stumbled upon this little gem. What? Crazy. It's always interesting when you reflect and you look back. So, in June, so almost exactly three years ago, June 13th of 2017, I did this exercise called display. So it's an exercise where you write 15 ways you display your survival mechanism and 15 ways you try to hide it. Just to give you some context, it was a life coaching self-development program, and your survival mechanism is things that has happened to you in the past. And I would say a good way to phrase it is like your bad side, right? So in coaching speak, or at least the program that I did, essence is like your good stuff. So for me, it's like optimism, compassion, partner, brilliance, and heart, something like that. And um, the survival mechanism, my survival mechanism is optimistic orphan, judgmental guru, and big hero no. Um, to give you more context, well, I guess reading the top 15 ways will give you additional context. Let me know what your thoughts are with sharing this, practicing vulnerability, because I think that's a very valuable skill and it'll help me be able to not only heal my past, but also hopefully inspire others to do the same. Okay, so, oh man, I love reading like journal entries. So I wrote, first of all, I would like to acknowledge the team this month for trust, honesty, and vulnerability. This month has been the craziest most emotional month of my life so far, but in a good way. There's been so many breakdowns and breakthroughs. Um, okay. So number one, when so this the first one is ways that I display my survival mechanism. So first one, number one, when anyone criticizes me, I attack back with judgment. So interesting, whatever we put out there is what we receive. So that's always something I've learned from doing this work. When anyone from that has a high financial wealth than me, I feel intimidated or judgmental. It's like I'm jealous of their success. Three, when I disempower people when they make fun of AC or coaching in general. Huh, interesting. Didn't maybe I never realized that was like a thing. So it's interesting to reflect to see how much has changed. Maybe it's all in our heads after all. Four, when I cannot see someone's greatness or when I try really hard to see someone's greatness. So this is like, for instance, people I can't relate to originally, but after getting to know them, I find that we have so many similarities. And for example, there was a member of the 24 of us that went through accomplishment coaching, and I like automatically judged her and said, "Oh man, I'll never be able to relate to her." But then it's interesting how the pattern works for me. But after getting to know her, she's like so incredible and so amazing and relatable. And I wrote, this tends to be a common theme in my life. It's always the people who I find fascinating or end up being people I end up being really close to. So, something interesting. Number five, when I delete friends on social media because they post political content and anything that doesn't align with my views, I put it in quotation marks or opinions. That's super interesting. I guess I haven't really been reading other people's social media as much, so I guess that's a good practice. But yeah, I definitely noticed that happens sometimes. Like anything with politics or anything that I'm just not interested in, I'll just like quickly unfollow them so that my story was like, oh, only positivity in my but in a way it's like I'm not even dealing with reality, right? So like for instance, COVID, what's going on right now, like yeah, definitely don't want to see anything negative because sometimes I soak some of that in. Fascinating. Six, holding a grudge against people that have said something negative about me in the past. And then I realized that they're all projections now. Hmm. 7, when I think I'm more knowledgeable about one in a specific topic, whether it's sales or anything specific. Yeah, I guess I'm being hard on myself, which is definitely still happening now. Interesting. 8, any sort of criticism or projection I have over others. A common one is that people that are not working hard enough. Yeah, very, very judgmental, very elitist. 9, when anyone makes Asian jokes, I tend to get super heated up and fight back. I think that's been better now. I think I've realized that, and that doesn't affect me as it was, but I would. But any sort of injustice still, especially with race, still definitely is a sore topic. Um, which goes to 10. Any racist jokes tend to piss me off easily. 11. When anyone compares me to my deadbeat dad, I get super riled up. Huh. Interesting. Funny enough, I called him the other day, and I definitely was triggered because he asked me to help him file for like unemployment, and I don't know why that like ticked me off so much, but interesting to see how things still pop up even 3 years later. 12. When people seemingly have perfect families, I tend to get sad and think about how my family isn't, quote unquote, quotation marks, isn't perfect. That's interesting. Yeah, because I do think I love my family now, and that's probably been the biggest breakthrough I've had throughout all this work. So awesome. It's pretty cool to reflect and see how much has changed and what has and hasn't changed. That's pretty cool. Or what has shifted, but not as much as other things. 13. When people give up, I also give up on them too easily. Hmm. Pretty loaded topic there. 14. Lack of vision or persistence at times. Hmm. Maybe that has something to do with my lack of visions at times. But now I do think I have a much clearer vision of what I want. 15. Lack of relatability at times. Ooh, that's interesting. Definitely have to think about that one. So the next part of the exercise is 15 ways I try to hide my survival mechanism. 1, posting motivational quotes every day. Well, I don't do that, but I do motivational content. So, 2, liking everyone's posts on social media just to try to build a social media following. Oh, I guess this is so. I guess in a way, it's just on a bigger scale. So instead of just doing social media, now I'm doing it on a more public scale with my podcast and my blog. Hmm. 3, starting my own sales podcast. It's supposed to make me feel like I'm important and I'm an influencer. I do see the good in that, like because I'm able to impact thousands of lives and potentially millions. So I think it's been a pretty awesome resource for a lot of people for donating to charity or tipping large tips for service employees like waiters, barbers, shoe shiners, etc. Hmm. Definitely still struggling with that one, but not try not to beat myself up about it. 5, 1,000 books journey. It's supposed to make me look smarter. Yay! I guess I've made some progress because I don't really post about it as much. I'm not updating my 1,000 book journey, but I do write about it often, which I think is pretty awesome. 6, helping out and mentoring hundreds of people on a regular basis. I definitely still do that, and it is super rewarding. But with anything, within moderation, right? I think with anything, moderation is key. 6, helping out. 7, reaching out to family recently and trying to be a connector catalyst, trying to make up for lost time. Huh, that's interesting. But I do think it's awesome that I'm trying. So, don't be so hard on myself. 8, being really cozy with my girlfriend side of the family. Well, now my fiance. 9, anything I do that is overly optimistic, trying to sell a story or my agenda and onto people. Hmm, it's deep. 10, trying to be altruistic as possible to make up for when I was younger and egotistical. Hmm. Definitely a story. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. Just an opinion. 11, trying to be an amazing boyfriend for being absent at times. It's always me going to extremes where I treat her really well and then we go to, huh, that's interesting. Um, yeah, I mean, I think life and relationships has lots of ups and downs. So not being so hard. 12, by being a babysitter, and 13, working at a preschool and daycare in the past. Um, I mean, I am volunteering and I'm mentoring others, so I do see how my past has impacted my ability to want to help and give back to others. 14, working out and in CrossFit because it allows me to relate to different types of people who I wasn't able to relate to in the past. And 15, anytime I do something ridiculous like 1,000 push-ups or some physical feat because it makes me stand out. Yeah, I think that is a way of well, in my opinion, it's a way of showing people what's possible, but I can see how it could be interpreted as like showing off. But either way, every hater, whether it's Alex Rodriguez or Derek Jeter or Chase Utley, is gonna have haters. And I think my therapist said it best, but she said, anytime you have haters, that's how you know you're doing something worthwhile. Well, hope you enjoyed this exercise. Would love for you to list 15 ways your survival mechanism shows up and the ways you survive, you hide them, and then hit me up if you ever need support in this exercise. Cheers.